I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. I play video games.
News and Gourmet with your hosts, John DeLuna, XV, Weebum,
Damn right I am.
and Rob.
Here we go.
News and Gourmet.
And this is new Soundwave, episode 89. 89. I'm Brian Kilby.
It's the episode after 88.
Yeah, it's the episode after 88, and with me I have XV and REC, also known as Rob Clay.
Hi.
Or New Rob. I mean,
New
we're
Rob.
kind of going with that, too.
Yeah, new Rob works. So, no John DeLuna this week. I am not John DeLuna. I am your intrepid producer trying to fill in. I promise no info bomb like the last time.
That's because he's going to read the script and nothing but.
Yes. I'm not going to pedantically jabber about stuff
Yeah,
that no
you
one cares
will.
about. Yeah, I'm sorry.
See, this is why this is going to be a good show, because me and you have this interplay like this,
Yes.
and Rob actually plays video games.
I play video games. I just don't play new video games. I play lots of old video games, but no one cares to listen about old video games.
I might. I mean, old video games is most of what I remember.
But Rob actually plays RPGs, which is a big deal. He's the only person on the show at all that plays RPGs, so we needed someone who did that, and we have
We
him.
may have made some casting misdirections when we put the show back together.
Yeah.
No offense to any of the people who are on regularly. but-
Yeah. We need one thing I miss about having Rob Springer on is he's such a Nintendo devotee that and that Nintendo is such has like it's like the video gaming pedigree. You know, screw you, EA and Activision. That his absence just reminds me of the big hole, Rob-sized hole in my heart. So. But oh well, okay, so let's go ahead and jump into the news. Mega Man Legends 3 canned. I didn't even realize Mega Man Legends 2 came out. So, not just the fans and gamers in varying stages of sorrow and anger at this news. Even Keiji Inafune appears to be saddened by this development and even offers his personal apology for the move, even though he's no longer connected to Capcom. He said, the decision for the cancellation was out of my sphere. But as someone who took part in the development, I'd like to convey something to the staff. I'm sorry that I couldn't be of assistance, he said before addressing the fans. I'm truly sorry I couldn't take part until the end. So Legends 3 was canceled just this past Monday, and despite Capcom's claims that this had nothing to do with Inafune's departure, and was instead based on the feeling that the game did not currently meet particular criteria to warrant release, i.e. crap. It seems pretty far-fetched that this be unrelated. So Capcom also promises that they are investigating every opportunity to add future titles to the Mega Man franchise. Please kill the franchise. And is not, it's not at all dead. Yes, it is. Even though absolutely nothing related to this is even on the horizon. Except that Dr. Wily's Revenge appears to be getting a release on the eShop for the 3DS. Awesome! Based on it being newly rated by the ESRB. So that's almost as good, right?
Sure.
I love Mega Man. I love Mega Man. I love Mega Man 2. I love Mega Man 3 and Mega Man 5. And
Mega Man 9 was really good.
Yes, Mega Man 9 is honestly the thing about Mega Man 9. I can go back and play Mega Man 2, Mega Man 3, 4, and actually play through them. Mega Man 9 is like this twisted, psycho, high level of difficulty that was intentional. But I think the people who remember loving Mega Man don't actually remember playing Mega Man. And the game's not easy. I mean, I beat Mega Man 3 in one setting. That's not necessarily the norm. That's probably the easiest of the games. But Mega Man games are pretty hard to play. 8-bit games in general are hard to play. They're difficult.
They really are.
I remember. Go ahead.
When I've gone back to some of them on means other than the original console they came out on, there's cheat codes built into the platform now, but even so, those are so much harder And I mean, I had no shot against him as a kid. I sucked even worse than I do now at it, and I cannot cope with a lot of what's in those games. It's amazing to me that's what they put out back
I
then.
fondly remember beating Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the first game that was Konami released under the Ultra sub-brand. And I'm doing info bomb. I'll shut up. But I remember fondly beating that game. And to hear people now, it's like that game was near impossible.
Well, I never got through it, so I'm impressed.
I have videotape of me beating it. I beat it repeatedly, like
I'm
my
glad
life.
I'm not the only one who used to videotape
Yes,
stuff as I played it.
as proof. It was proof, and it was an achievement. And I videotaped myself playing games all the time. But I remember beating it without much problem. I've gone back and tried to play it since, and heck no, there's no way, no way I could beat that game now. I don't have the patience. I don't have. I couldn't do it. So,
For me, the Mega Man that I most associate with is the Battle Network series because
never played him.
well, I mean, it's not like the platform Mega Man games. The mechanics are completely different, and it's not like impossible for me to play like normal Mega Man games are. And there's a strategy element, which I've said before on the show. I really like that. I like having a puzzle to solve, where I've actually got a way to figure out how to get through something instead of trying to figure out what the trick is to get through something or just brute force through it.
It's a nice little action RPG, and it's probably a better sequel to Tron than Tron Legacy. But and just to wind it back for a second, the one thing I have to give Mega Man 9 specifically is that the level design is really excellent, because there's a couple of different places in it where they give you warnings as to what the next really sadistic death trap is going to be. They give you a version that doesn't kill you, and so then when you get to the next screen and you see the one that definitely will, you're not too surprised.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I haven't played through Mega Man 9. Triplet, who flaked. I'm only saying that because I know he'll listen to this tomorrow. Triplet, who flaked. I am so sorry for giving Triplet grief. He is going to beat the crap out of me when I see him Friday.
But Triplet is so good-natured. I mean, it's hard not to give him crap.
Oh, he is evil. He is evil as can be. But
it's weird. A lot of people are good-natured in real life and total assholes on the internet. He seems to be the opposite.
That's me. I'm good-natured in real life, and I'm awful online. But he's played through. If he hasn't finished it, he's all but finished Mega Man 9, and I'm really impressed by that. I bought Mega Man 10, but I haven't played it.
Same here, actually. Just it did not really seem as inspired as Mega Man 9 to me. And just to bring it back one more step to Mega Man Legends 3, Keiji Inafune, despite not being with Capcom anymore, was actually a lot more gracious about the whole thing. Earlier on Twitter, Capcom Europe actually basically said that if the fans had been more excited about it, the game would have come out. So, way to blame the victims, guys.
Yeah.
Well, that just seems par for the course.
I'm certain M. Cypher is right now, rolling in his grave. Actually, M. Cypher's not dead. He's very much alive in Raleigh.
Well, this could have killed him. We don't know.
Could have.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Mega Man Legend. Like I said, I didn't even realize Legends 2 came out. What did it come out for? Does anyone remember?
Legends 2 actually did come out for PS1. Actually, selling a copy for my brother right now.
Awesome.
But
timing.
Yeah, but and Mega Man Legends 1 and 2 were actually the first 3D action games I actually enjoyed.
Well,
Mario 64?
Have Mario 64, did you?
No.
Oh.
Never got into Zelda Ocarina of Time. Had that. Never liked it that much.
Ocarina is a little different. Mario 64 is the last game that I can think of that was of any length that I actually played through to total completion. I got all 120 stars, and I was happy about that. I did not finish Ocarina. I mean, I finished it, but I didn't get all of the scarabs or whatever you had to collect or anything like that. And it saddens me that I just realized that was like 14 years ago that I did that. I am so old. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Okay.
Boy.
So, on the Marvel vs. Capcom 3 announced, full new character roster discovered minutes later. So in November, Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is getting an update in the form of a new retail version, of course. Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which really looks like Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. Led a dozen new characters, 8 more levels, and feature rebalanced gameplay. It's set to be $40. I may pick that up when it comes out on the PS3 and 360 later this year. When announced earlier Wednesday, Capcom only officially revealed 4 of the game's fighters. However, really badly hidden character art on the official website. It's guaranteed that the entire roster's public consumption before lunch. I misread that entirely. For the Marvel side, we have Hawkeye, Ghost Rider, Doctor Strange, Iron Fist, Nova, and Rocket Raccoon. Awesome! And Capcom's characters will be Firebrand, Strider, finally. I was pissed off that Strider wasn't in the first release. It's one of the reasons I didn't get it. Frank West, who cares? Nemesis, Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, yes! McFeely is going to be so happy. And Virgil. So Mega Man, meanwhile, is trying to survive in a cardboard box on the street outside Capcom's offices.
Seemed appropriate.
Yeah, that's great.
Yes.
So Mega Man wasn't in the versus Capcom 3, or I think he wasn't he?
No, Zero from the Mega Man X series was.
Was Tron Bonne? I know she was in
I
the.
don't remember.
She was in the 2. I love 2.
Yeah. 2 was great.
I have it on the 360 Xbox Live Arcade, but I don't play it. If I play it, I pull out my Dreamcast and play it there. That's the only good way to play it.
I need to get a new copy because my copy was actually a Korean PS2 copy, and my mod chip died.
Good luck finding a PS2 copy.
Yeah,
God,
I've
it's
seen some of the
ridiculously
prices
expensive.
on that. I'm going to be downloading that when I get it.
You can totally buy the Dreamcast version reasonably if you still have a Dreamcast, and it's the best way to play it. It's because of course it's native to the Dreamcast, the Stella hardware.
Yeah, actually, I just got a Dreamcast this last year, so
go buy it for $10. You'll be happy. Totally worth it.
Yeah, really, with this Marvel vs. Capcom thing, I was really sad when you said Triplet wasn't going to be on the show, because he would have had something to say about it.
He loves Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Mm-hmm.
This is actually the show. This is the show for John too, because Street Fighter 3 Third Strike coming to PSN and Xbox Live Arcade. That's awesome. Capcom will be adding unspecified extras, as well as online play. It'll cost 1,200 points, which is, I don't know if that's $2 or $75. It's hard to keep track. The note says here 15, but we'll see. August 23rd. When Street Fighter 3 came out in the arcades back in '97-ish, I wasn't really thrilled with it, mostly because I guess it was 96, 97. It was sometime in that range, because we also at the same time had Street Fighter Alpha, and I really, really love Street Fighter Alpha. And while it wasn't a step back, Street Fighter 3 wasn't. It was visually just kind of, it tried to be realistic, and it didn't really come off that way. So I never really had the same appreciation that true fighting aficionados have, where real people into fighting. It's like they love Street Fighter 3 and Virtua Fighter. So the gameplay in Street Fighter 3 is complex. It's got a good selection of characters. And for a 2D fighter, it still looks pretty good. I still prefer the anime-ish look of Alpha and the simpler look. Alpha is based on the Capcom CPS-1 board, I think, just like, I may be wrong, but just like Street Fighter 2 was, but 3 totally, it's on, I guess, the 2 or 3 board.
The one thing,
I'll shut up. Okay, so
the one thing 3 has going for it is the really marvelous 60 frame per second animation.
Yeah, it looks nice. While it's still the character, the sprites are good looking. They've held up better than, say, the sprites from Street Fighter 2, of course. And I guess. Okay, so we were talking about Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 really doesn't look that great, again because it's got 3D backgrounds and the high-res 3D backgrounds and the 2D sprites over above that. But, Street Fighter 3 looks pretty good. I still looks really good. I played the version that came with my copy of... what was the release? The Street Fighter, the Anniversary Edition that came out on the Xbox?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a version of that. That version of Street Fighter 2 was playable on the internet. It's a shame that the included version of Street Fighter 3 wasn't, but you finally get it. So, if I want to play it, I'll play it on my main cabinet, though.
Oh,
That's just
yeah.
me.
One of the I do actually know one of the extras. I've seen it discussed elsewhere. There's going to be a challenge mode that gives you like specific goals to meet, including in one case recreating a very famous win at one of the big tournaments where someone with no life left as Ken managed to parry a 14-hit super move and counter with their own super.
Holy crap!
Yeah,
Wow.
the guy's name is Daigo Nakahara, and look it up on YouTube sometime. It is absolutely amazing. I am not a really great fighting game player, but I know just enough to know how hard that is, and it
Yeah.
blew me.
That's a lot of skill and luck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so just like any act of greatness, it's skill and luck. He'll always be remembered on the internet. So, according to EA, consoles account for 40% of the gaming market. What's wrong with that? That doesn't sound right. That can't be. So, speaking of industry, I don't read well. I don't read good.
Try reading a few words ahead of where you're talking, Kilby.
But I can't do that. Have you ever met me?
Well,
EA CEO John Riccitiello indicated that it didn't matter that there's been no word of a next console generation outside of Nintendo, mostly stepping into the current one with the Wii U, because consoles are not the dominant force in the market anymore, like they were a few years ago, and they may be reaching a technological plateau. He points to that the Wii U is one console development may need to as a way of adapting to the times, because of course that the game it's got a different screen and things like that, So one of the least interesting things he said about the games industry was that every 5 years you'd see a new console or platform from everybody at about the same time with about the same or similar upgrades or services, but it's not a particularly smart way to run an industry. Bulges in technology investment followed by harvest. And let's be realistic, consoles used to be 80% of the industry, and recently is 2000 consoles today are 40% of the gaming industry. So what do we really have? So for one thing, he points to the iPad as EA's fastest growing platform. That's not surprising, and that's one that didn't even exist 18 months ago. He points to Nintendo's Wii U as a potentially breaking out of the cyclical format of console generations by appearing to learn from the new technologies that have entered the arena, like the iPad. He goes on to say that the war is being driven by hardware specs will soon be meaningless, and believes that microtransactions and social experiences, oh god, are where the future may lie in terms of game development as a practical hardware, as graphics power hits a wall. So, microtransactions and everything has been like the realm of the browser-based RPG style games from the last few years, and that's where companies like, I guess, Zynga are making money. It saddens me that if there's a stalwart sort of game manufacturer that is like the game manufacturer you think of some company like Sega, but really EA is the big one. Well, historically in the gaming arena, console arena has been the big one, and they're saying that only 40% of their market is now consoles. That makes me sad as a console gamer. I do like Angry Birds, though. I'll admit that. In fact, if I could run Chrome right now while doing this, I would be playing Angry Birds.
And your reading comprehension would go down even farther.
Even farther, yes. So what do you guys think about that? I mean, is that surprising, or is that basically what you expected, given the nature of things?
When I read the headline that led me to this, I was kind of surprised by the 40% number. But the iPad thing really makes sense when you stop and think about it for a minute. And I actually kind of agree with the cyclical problem in the consoles, because there's not a whole lot else for them to go forward and do on any practical scale. I don't think.
Yeah, I've been thinking for the last couple of years, honestly, that we were coming up on the time when the usual new consoles would get announced, and I've been thinking that the market is not going to bear it, for one. So I think I'm not really surprised. But
we say that the market's not going to bear it, but my brother at this point has 3 frickin' PS3s. He has 3 PS3s and 3 Xbox 360s in his home and 2 Wii's.
Why?
Because he can.
That's not a good reason.
And my brother is not rich by any stretch. He likes games. He's established. He's in his 50s. He has 2 kids who live at home still for some reason, but he has 3 PS3s. I think he could probably stand to get a PS4 or an Xbox 720 or whatever. I would probably end up getting one. So, I mean, I didn't pick up the PS3, mostly because when it came out, it was $600 and had no software. By the time it was reasonably priced, I was so vested in the Xbox 360 that it didn't matter. There's only a couple games on the PS3 that I can't get that I would want. That's like Uncharted 2 and the upcoming Uncharted 3, probably God of War 3, and maybe, if I had the time, Gran Turismo 5. But that's it. And I can live without those, or I could get those later on when I can get a PS3 used for $40.
And in the chat, Diecast brought up what I thought was a good point too. The changing landscape and the lesser significance of the consoles. He thinks it has less. He thinks that's to do with people having less and less time to actually sit and play a game straight through, like any long protracted experience, and that the iPad and iPhone style games really fit the small time windows you have between demands on your life.
That's and that's a really good point. That's probably if I had a better phone, I'll show you my phone right here. Let me bring the camera up. I love my. It's a Windows Mobile 6.5 device. It's the HTC Touch Pro 2. You saw how fast that wasn't. That's it's Windows Mobile 6.5. Great piece of hardware, great business phone because of the fantastic keyboard, but it sucks for everything else. If I had a better phone, I would probably sit around and play things like Angry Birds. And,
so the phone I have is this piece of crap Net 10 phone.
Nice.
I have a 2002 Sprint cell phone that can't even do modern ringtones and has a dead battery, so I have to keep it.
I paid $600 for this phone last year.
Whoa.
Ow. And I just dropped it.
Yeah.
For anybody wondering, I can't actually see Kilby's video right now. So.
Oh, it's gone. That's okay. But yeah, so if I had a better phone, I would probably do that. I consider myself a console gamer because I love playing console games in front of a TV, but I am so busy. I know it looks like I just sit around and podcast all the time, but
no, this is what Kilby does instead of like spending time with his family or sleeping.
I have a 1 hour, 15-minute commute both ways each day, plus I'm probably working 13 hours. 11, 12, 13 hours a day. So I don't have a lot of free time to game like I would like. I'm certain if I had an iPad or something, I could go to the canteen and sit down and play something for half an hour, where now I just work through lunch.
And there's another thing with that too. I like my consoles. I mean, it's the same theory that you're working on, but I don't have a lot of money to throw at video games. Most of the stuff I buy 2 years later when it's $20, $25.
Or less. I mean, that's the great thing about games. They depreciate in value so quickly.
But, I mean, if I had a smartphone, or, I mean, even an iPod Touch would do it probably, I would probably get these 99-cent, $2 little mini games more frequently than I buy real video games.
Yeah, absolutely. I find myself spending, like microtransactions, like $1 or $2 a lot for things that I see. Same on Amazon, and there's a song that I want, so I just buy the one song. Or I'm looking for a template or something. I don't see it as a big deal spending $1, $2 on something, but it really it adds up. So in microtransactions in buying a game, if I buy 50 games from EA for $1 a piece, and it takes 2% of the time to make one of these games is what a console game, they've literally come out even. It's probably taking less time than that. A lot of times they're repurposing games that already exist. They're just porting it over to another format.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I do kind of wonder about is that 40% number. Does that mean that the console gaming market is shrinking, or just that the rest of the market has grown around it?
I think the console. So console gaming was huge. Hit its peak a couple of years ago. I think it's dropped a little since then. I don't think that it's quite where it was. I don't hear that GameStop is having the record business that it had, because GameStop was the company to have stock in, or have some sort of ownership of a couple of years ago, because they were just hitting their numbers out of the park each and every quarter. But now you don't hear that. And I don't think it's just the fact that the economy sucks, because the economy is actually coming back. I know that's hard for some people to believe, because depending on your area, but in general, I see business improving, and I see more people being employed, at least where I live. And believe it or not, I live in a state that's actually a technology center. You wouldn't think that North Carolina is a technology center, but Research Triangle Park.
NASCAR.
Yeah, only NASCAR, but Research Triangle Park is basically the Silicon Valley of the East Coast. So, I mean, and I knew people who work in that industry, and things are getting better.
Here in Maryland, we're like the worst job growth in the entire country, so not
congratulations.
So I live in a small town where the biggest employer is Walmart.
Yeah, the biggest employer here is not Walmart. So, but yeah, I see plenty of places around here like that. Fortunately, I don't live in one of them. But
yeah, I would say it's both factors at once going in opposite directions. There's some shrink in the console market, and the iPad style market is also growing around everything else.
Yeah,
sounds about right.
I think so. Ubisoft thinks that the Wii U will change the gaming industry. Okay, they can think that. Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot, I can't pronounce that, appears to have thrown in with Nintendo and speaks confidently to its behalf that the technologies in the new console will help determine the shape of things to come with its innovative design notions, and he wants to be a part of that. He said, I love that you have a screen very close to you. You can get information and send it as well, but you don't have to learn too many things. I think it's sending
That is the weirdest sentence.
I know, and I didn't misread that. I think it's sending the message that the new transition is going to happen, and we're going to have new machines coming soon. So I know it's not the same thing, but we did have this with the VMU, with the Dreamcast, and it's not an intuitive way of getting information to you. Looking at your controller when the game is really on the screen, I don't think is going to work.
The only way I ever thought this would have been a good idea was in one of the pitches used this, as I recall, where if you're playing like a sports game, like football, between plays you could use your personal screen to select the play pattern that you're going to use.
And you could do that on the Dreamcast, and it didn't work. Sure, the VMU was much lower resolution. Go ahead.
Right.
One place where it has worked is actually Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles for the GameCube. Mm-hmm. You could use the
Game Boy Advance extender, yeah.
Yeah, and I played that with some other people, and that it is really nice that you can access your own menu without interrupting the flow of the gameplay for everyone else.
Yeah, you could do that with Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, I believe. You could play as Tinkle on that really crappy little game. But yeah, I would say that the Dreamcast was the closest analog. I can understand someone thinking that, say, that the Nintendo DS as a two-screen mode would work, but it's not the same, because you're always looking the two screens are so close together that they might as well be one, where you're looking in two entirely different directions when you're playing a console game. So I don't know. I think the people who like Wii may go for the Wii U, just because people tend to spend money on. If they market it as a kiddie console, I hate to say it, or as a gimmick like they did the Wii, they're probably going to get a lot of sales. And this piece of hardware is powerful enough to contend with the power-hungry game designers that we have out there, because it's easier programming for a more powerful console than it is to master programming for a current-gen console, because you have fewer constraints to worry about, and you don't have to have your code as tight. So I can see them, like Activision and companies like that preferring this, but we'll see. I mean, I think if the Xbox 720 or something comes out in the next couple of years, it may eat this for lunch, because everyone has an HD TV now, and everyone wants super high res graphics.
The other thing too with this, I think, the Wii itself, it wasn't a very innovative control system, but that's basically all it's remembered for. That's its entire notoriety right there.
It's no surprise, but 90% of what I ever did with my Nintendo Wii was Virtual Console.
90% of all I ever did with my Wii that wasn't related to homebrew was Wii Sports.
Yeah.
Monster Hunter Tri was fun. I need to get back to that. But it really should, to be honest, it really should have been on another system, because the classic controller is the best way to play it, and that means you're basically using a standard console controller except with a Wiimote strapped to your wrist. So
right.
I do like the classic controller though, because it's a Super NES controller with pads, with analog pads. I like that.
It's one of the best feeling controllers I think.
It's great. Yeah, I need to get. I don't have the new one with the extra buttons, but I need it. Let's go ahead.
Go
ahead.
I don't think the Pro actually has more buttons. It just has the hand grips. But
I thought I had extra. I thought I had an extra set of triggers.
I did the first one only have one set of triggers?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, then it does. But just basically for my great big hammy hands, it's one of the most comfortable controllers I've ever used.
Big hammy hands too. So.
Good. I'm not alone.
No. Awesome. Let's go ahead and take a break, and we will be back right after this.
It's for breakfast now. Nintendo. It's a cereal. Wow. Nintendo. Super Mario Jump. Nintendo. In a fruit flavored crunch. Nintendo. Here's Zelda too. Nintendo. It's very good news. Nintendo. You just can't move. Nintendo cereal system is a super part of this nutritious breakfast. Nintendo. 2 cereals in 1. Wow.
This Christmas, Pepsi would like to help you celebrate the holidays with a chance of winning a present from Mario in the Pepsi Nintendo Holiday Game, where you could win one of thousands of terrific Nintendo prizes, like these action sets, game packs, and best of all, the sensational new Game Boy. So hurry up and play before it's all over. Look for details on how to win your Nintendo prize wherever you see these Pepsi holiday displays.
Now, on your breakfast table, Donkey Kong brand cereal.
Crunchy berries of fun for breakfast. Donkey Kong cereal.
The sweet, crunchy corn taste will drive you ape.
You love the crunch. Donkey Kong cereal. Crunchy berries of fun for breakfast.
It's part of this complete breakfast.
Donkey Kong cereal. You love the crunch.
Hey, Sonic, let's race for a box of Honey Nut Cheerios.
Race for the taste, the honey sweet taste of Honey Nut Cheerios.
It's the honey nutty part of this complete breakfast.
Hey, Sonic, how can I be as good as you?
Race for the taste.
Now, Honey Nut Cheerios offers you free Sega game tips right on the box, plus a chance to instantly win a Sega Genesis with the new Dr. Robotnik or Toe Jam and Earl Panic on Funkatron. Chances of winning 1 in 10,000. Check mark boxes.
The evil M. Bison has made his bid for world domination. Now the clock is ticking. Who can defeat this madman? Capcom Street Fighter official movie fighters. Colonel Guile and his Street Fighters move in to take Bison out, but arms dealer Victor Sagat destroys their plans with his Devastator.
Fire!
So Guile charges the competition with the savage Street Striker. Sagat, your time is up. It's a countdown to the ultimate showdown. Fighting in the street.
For control of the world!
Capcom Street Fighter, the official movie collection. Devastator comes with exclusive Sagat figure.
We call upon the power of Double Dragon. Billy and Jimmy Lee in their Double Dragon cruiser battle Shadow Master on his Shadow Raven.
Fire! Rise over, Shadow Master.
Double Dragon. Figures and vehicles sold separately. New Soundwave. You can hear our show on Stitcher Smart Radio. Stitcher allows you to listen to your favorite shows directly from your iPhone, Android phone, BlackBerry, or Palm phones. On demand and on the go. Don't have Stitcher? Download it for free today at Stitcher.com or in the app stores. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
I was actually playing with Stitcher, listening to it at work, and I really, really like it. I'm being exposed to podcasts that I wouldn't normally listen to. Things like Grammar Girl and WTF with, was it Mark Marone? It's just stuff that I normally wouldn't hear. And it's just, actually, it's really cool. So
Grammar Girl?
Grammar Girl. It's like a 5-minute podcast where a girl talks about grammar. I like stuff like that, so...
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. There you go.
Well, 5 minutes sounds good. I mean, I have no attention span.
No, I love short podcasts. For a while, we talked about doing like a daily 5-minute show. It just never panned out.
We were already overextended at that point.
Yeah,
and it's only gotten worse.
I miss JD and Rob Springer being unemployed. And me being underemployed. Me being underemployed was the big thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, let's go ahead and get back to it. So, and I just lost my place in the notes. So...
Meanwhile, in Xbox land.
Yes, meanwhile, in Xbox land, AMD, who you might recall is the designer of the 360's graphics chip, has begun boasting about the size of their digits with a claim that Microsoft's next console will, in graphical terms, rival Avatar. Neil Rubison made this and other amazing statements in the official Xbox magazine, and so of course it's true. Even while refusing to confirm that he was actually working on the new Microsoft console. That's awesome. Other claims represented in this article were that the AI and physics engines would be so amazing that every non-playable character on the screen of Grand Theft Auto could have unique behaviors, and if we're lucky, maybe even jiggle physics. Okay, but he didn't say the last part, but you probably already are thinking it. Destructoid's editor rightly questions how even the developers will be able to financially cope with such massive power when even current generation games seem to be budgeting horrors, never mind what the cost to us poor consumers would be. So, I think, okay, so one of the things that they were talking about, that gaming industry insiders were talking about when this console generation started were like second-party developers, basically people who developed the engine, kind of like how the Unreal 3 engine is the basis for lots of games. So if there's a new industry, if there's more developers who are developing gaming engines, and I guess maybe not. So there are people and companies, of course, who make textures and do every little bit of detail, little bit of things that the characters do, motion, sound, behavior. If there are companies that pop up that develop that sort of thing, like as a third party, and sell the behaviors, sell the textures, sell the physics, the jiggling motion to the developers, that constraint is taken off of the developer, and they're allowed to actually design the game. And I think working for a large company, I think I realize that there are a lot of like an elephant has birds eating crap off of it because the elephant can't do it itself, so we pay people to do stuff that we don't want to do. Gaming companies do the same thing. I don't think it'll be a huge deal, I guess, to make a long story short. If
too late.
If the capabilities of the systems completely outpace the current ability to design for them, because there's gaming industry businesses always find a way to deliver. And when they don't, they go out of business. So,
well, and at this point, would Microsoft still be willing to take losses on the hardware just to get it out there?
Microsoft has bottomless pockets, yes.
Yeah, so I mean, they'll get it to you for a price you can buy it, no matter what it's costing them.
Yeah, and
but I don't really think we have to worry about it because, as you so rightly pointed out at the beginning of this, bullcrap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, okay, so I think back to pre-renders that I saw for the PlayStation 1 in Game Pro back in '94 that were done on Silicon Graphics PCs. Of course, now your iPad can do the same level of graphics, but then it was mind-blowing what they showed. Right. It's like, this is what the PlayStation 1 will look like. Well, no, it's not. This is what the PlayStation 2 will look like. The next system will not rival Avatar. The system after,
sure,
maybe. I mean, sure, of course, you can make a game, you can run video on a game that will look like Avatar. It just will have crappy
can't
physics.
play in that graphic
yeah,
level.
it's just not going to be. It's just not going to be good. So,
No, I mean, I will give them credit. You know, when I got my HD TV finally and played Saints Row on that, I was amazed at how good the graphics actually look in gameplay. But no, I mean, they're a ways away from doing that kind of rendering real time in full HD. It's not happening.
I was talking with Triplet a couple days ago, and he was talking about how he didn't think games could look as good as God of War 3 looks. He was like, I never thought games would look that good, but you know, they do. And you know, now I can say games are. It's easy for me to say that, you know, next year a game isn't going to look as good as Avatar. And I really don't believe that outside of a tech demo that it will. Maybe towards the end of the console's life cycle, but I just don't anytime soon see a game looking like that. And if it is, I think it would be disorienting. It might make you sick. Because
if it was like Avatar, it would definitely make me sick.
Yeah, 3D. But it's like the uncanny valley. It's like looking at a robot or a render of a person. There's a point to where between you know, obviously fake and realistic, where it's just really creepy. There's something similar with looking at, you know, not real video. I've heard people talking about looking at 4K TV screens as tech demos in Japan and getting sick because it's like looking at a tiny mirror into a small universe, and it makes them nauseated. And gaming,
you know, it might just be me and my personal preference, but I actually kind of like my video games to not look very real.
I don't want to be shooting. I don't want to play Grand Theft Auto where it looks like I'm killing real people.
It's not even that. It's just like my own expectation of playing a video game is blocks of polygons.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm still in the Nintendo 64 mindset.
Yeah, one of the most surreal gaming moments that I've ever had, and I go back to Grand Theft Auto 3, and I mentioned this a lot. I was on top of a parking garage with a sniper rifle shooting people, and I shot someone in the head, and a woman ran away screaming, "Oh God, I can't believe this is happening!" And I just paused the game and put the controller down, and I just had to reflect on what I was doing. And that was on the PS2. The graphics weren't that realistic, but the setting was. If the graphics had been on par with, you know, what's going to be possible in 2 or 3 years, I probably would have had some sort of emotional damage. I mean, 8 years later, I still remember that. I still remember where I was, what I was doing, what time of day it was.
The first time you headshotted somebody.
Yeah, well, in that game. Not the first time. You know, I guess the first time I ever did a headshot was like Quake 2 or Quake 1. But, of course, I had the most fun in Unreal Tournament, or Unreal, because, of course, Headshot, which is, you know, so fantastic. But, you know, I think there's a level of realism that we just don't want to approach.
No,
You know,
I would agree with that, definitely.
Yeah. And in terms of quality of game experience, personally, I think realism is incredibly overrated. But
yeah. It's like when Doom 3 came out, it said, well, you know, the game moves slow because it would really disorient. It would make you sick if you played the game at full tilt, you know, at full speed.
Yeah.
That wasn't true. I mean, it wasn't that good. That was buzz. But we are now at a point to where it probably could be real enough where it would make you sick. You know, it
just
cause
imagine
damage.
adding a 3D TV into that formula.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Right. So it goes back to what we were talking about in the EA news item, where there's a limit of practicality to all of this, which is why stuff is going to have to go out sideways instead of still pushing forward.
Yeah, I mean, like novelizing or making interesting new advances, like the Wii, like the Kinect, like, you know, the Wii U, just doing new things. It doesn't have to look better. It just has to be more innovative. It has to be more creative. It has to create new paradigms to interact with the game, like
right.
Seaman.
Interaction is the future of the games, not graphical superiority.
We need to revisit Seaman. I think we're getting a Seaman 2, aren't we? Wasn't there talks about it?
That I don't know offhand. I've joked almost every week for the last month. Hey, how about Seaman?
But, you know, I mean, you know, as stupid as that sounds now, Seaman was kind of cool, and it was a new way of playing the game.
Right. interact verbally with this really weird thing.
Yeah, thing is what it was. So,
how I'm living that every week on Skype.
Nice. So, Activision announced GoldenEye 007 Reloaded for the PS3 and 360. The Wii remake of the classic N64 game will be run through a new engine to bring HD quality and have the internals jimmied with the function with the PlayStation Move. Oh my god. The game
no mention of Kinect functionality.
The game will add new MI6 ops missions, featuring a challenge levels separate and distinct from the game's story. Online multiplayer isn't being ignored, with 16-player matches possible, and of course the classic 4-player split screen, which sucks. For those who dig such things, no one does now. There's no reason to do that. The game is currently scheduled for release in the fall.
I'm sure.
Man, split screen gaming is awful. I remember I got
multiplayer is kind of becoming a lost thing.
I actually had the link cable for the PlayStation 1 where I could link my two PS1s together on two different TVs, and I always opted to do that for games that supported that over linking over split screen. The same thing for I guess the Dreamcast when I could link things together with the network cable. I think, or was that the PS2? Whichever one I had the network adapter for. It was always preferable. Split screen gaming sucks so bad. So, even with my 8-foot projector, it still sucks. Even when you get like a larger screen on split screen than you would have as a normal TV, it's just not a good way to go. Kill that thing. Ignore it.
Yeah, I mean, I can see how in that setting. Using two monitors would be good, but even setting that part aside, I mean, there's not a lot of stuff that's doing local multiplayer anymore. Everything is preferring doing it online, and I mean, that's kind of leaving some people out in the cold that way.
Yeah, I remember what it was. I was actually doing LANs with, I had 2 or 3 PCs, and I was playing Unreal Tournament 2003, and I love setting up LANs at home for that. I didn't have fast internet. I had crappy internet, but it didn't matter, because I had, 10 base T. It was fast. And I'm not a fan of split screens. That was like an ad hoc, didn't have any other option at the time way of doing it. It's like we have faster gaming systems. Let's come up with new ways to play. And that sucked. Let's do network gaming. so yeah. No.
Yeah. But hey, GoldenEye.
It
never appealed to me, but that's cool.
I loved GoldenEye in 1997. At 98. I was awesome at that. I was awesome at it, but now I go back and try to play it, and it's crap. It's been so outclassed by several generations of first-person shooters. I mean, no, sorry, that's a game better left in the past.
Maybe a modern controller might help, because to be honest, okay.
It's stiff. It's a stiff game. It's not the controller. It's the gameplay mechanics.
Okay.
Doesn't work. Played it with a new controller. Doesn't help.
Good to know.
All right then.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. So this is new to me. Voltron coming to the PS3 and 360? Really? In the form of downloadable PSN Xbox Live arcade title. That is, the game is promised to have online multiplayer co-op for up to 5 players. I wonder how he arrived at that number. That's awesome. And offer multi for 2. The game will feature clips from the original Voltron cartoon. Hopefully we'll get some Peter Cullen. I'm not sure if that's a selling point or a warning. It'll cost $10 when published in October. There's a trailer, and we'll link to that on Twitter.
One thing I read about it that's kind of interesting is that you play... in the 5-player mode, you start out individually controlling characters and/or lions, but when you form Voltron, all the players have to work together to control Voltron.
As a kid, I fantasized about having a Transformers games where you get to play as combiners, and that was like the one sticking point I had when trying to figure out how the game would work. Is how would you control the character? And the best that I could ever come up with would be something like the combiner, like Defensor or whoever goes NPC, and then you sort of control like where he shoots. It goes like it would be a game that goes on like a rail at that point, and then you have independent targeting of stuff. But that still wouldn't be compelling. I don't know.
And I have trouble envisioning how 5 people working together to control Voltron would actually work out in actual gameplay.
Is it going to be like a Ouija board where you kind of everyone pushes? And I'm serious. I'm serious here. So, like, majority rules. I don't know how that's going to work. That has suck written all over it.
If each individual player controls the part of Voltron they were controlling beforehand, that could make for a really great party game.
Yeah. It looked like Voltron would be having a constant conniption fit. I mean...
Well, okay. I know people with good taste don't watch Robot Chicken, but I've seen the commercial where they had Voltron breakdancing. I kind of envision something like that happening inadvertently.
Probably.
That's just my take on this.
You're probably right. I'm going to be interested to see how it works exactly, no matter how it turns out, because that could be a really neat idea or a disaster, and disaster's more likely, but either way, it should be fun to watch.
Disaster's likely, but it sounds like having 5 friends is not necessarily essential to play as Voltron either. So,
yeah.
Would anyone who wants to play Voltron have 5 friends?
Well, that's why it's good that it's 5-player online multi. You don't have to actually have 5 friends that you know.
That's true.
Anybody who remembers
Voltron with 4 strangers. That should be...
My point, though, was that everybody who would buy this Voltron game has at least 5 friends on the internet.
Well,
true.
Yeah.
True. Let's go ahead and jump to the next story. Final Fantasy 13-2. Slated for release in North America in January 2012. Following a release in December in Japan, Square Enix is currently promising the West will have the release just a month later. That's pretty quick. We'll see how long that remains true. But it's just another darn Final Fantasy, so no big deal. I am not a Final Fantasy
They all
player.
look alike to me anyway.
Yeah, the only Final Fantasy game I ever had any interest in playing was Final Fantasy 3, aka 6, when it came out on the SNES. All those many years ago, and I didn't, so I never got into Final Fantasy. I've played some of the first one, and that's it.
6 is definitely worth your time if you can get it. It's out. It's
on Virtual Console, isn't it?
Virtual Console, PSN, and if you want to spend a little more, there is a really excellent Game Boy Advance remake. The music suffers a little, but everything else.
The Game Boy Advance has a really crappy sound chip anyway, so that makes sense.
Yeah, it really does. And to be honest, even the PS1 could not emulate the Final Fantasy VI soundtrack properly.
Well, the SNES had that Sony chip, which is funny because the SNES chip was made by Sony, the sound chip. And you would think that the PSN... why didn't they do it as Redbook audio, I wonder?
Basically because there's just too much of it. The soundtrack...
Ah, that makes sense.
I have the soundtrack for Final Fantasy VI. It is 3 CDs.
Wow.
So,
okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
okay.
Wow.
Yeah, massive soundtrack, wonderful soundtrack. I cannot sing the praises of Final Fantasy VI enough.
Okay.
13 is actually so far probably my least favorite of the entire series. I have not gotten all the way through it, but a lot of the things that bugged me about it, from what I've seen of 13.2, will probably be corrected. It looks less linear, and it looks like there's more things to do besides just follow the main story in a straight line.
But why couldn't they give it its own number? Why did it have to be 13-2?
I mean, they're trying to sell it to fans of 13.
Yeah, basically none of the numerical Final Fantasies are actually related to one another. No. So when they want to do a specific sequel, they do it under the original number.
This is the second one they've done with this. The first one was 10-2. Then
which
I hate Final Fantasy so much.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, 10-2, not a great game. Had some interesting ideas. It actually, in terms of the combat system, 13 delivered on a lot better than it did. But yeah, that's. There have been some spin-offs of Final Fantasy VII, but only 10 and 13 have had actual sequels.
Okay, was it 11 or was it 13 that was the online game?
Actually, 11 and 14 are both online.
So it was 11 that was out on what, the PS2?
Yeah, PS2 and 360, I believe.
Actually, didn't the network adapter for the PS2 come out specifically for that Final Fantasy game?
Well, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, kind
More or
of.
less. I know the hard drive was specifically for the
The
game.
hard drive, that's what I'm thinking.
And you had to
of.
have the network adapter to use the hard drive.
Yes.
Okay, so it's all kind of like a perfect storm of they made this for Final Fantasy.
Basically.
So yeah, the hard drive is what I was thinking of.
Now, the reason to get the hard drive, though, is because you can get the software that will let you copy PlayStation 2 games to your hard drive and load them off of it. But that was an unintended side benefit. Okay, so...
Yes.
And then when they went to the PS2 Slim, the hard drive wasn't compatible with that,
Nope,
right?
it was not.
Okay, yeah, the hard drive is definitely the thing I was remembering when I was talking about the network adapter.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Okay,
Thank you for reminding me of another Sony failure.
last story. Microsoft says that their first party is better than your first party. Xbox CFO Dennis Durkin was asked if Microsoft needed to bolster its first party lineup, which has been flagging lately. Durkin was quite unmoved, retorting, I would ask you to go and look at some of your data just to compare first-party performance over the course of this life cycle, because I think our first-party performance in terms of quality, bars, and units per title, this shift has been superior to our competitions.
It's not really an answer, is it?
No. But certainly we think first-party is an important tool, and you can't dispute titles like Forza, which has consistently come out on repeated cadence and sold multi-million units. That's true on clearance. You can't dispute things like Fable, which again, on a very consistent pace, has come out and sold 2 and 3 million units a pop. Now, new titles like Kinect Sports, which has come out and sold over 3 million units. So we are not only building existing IP and incubating around titles like Halo and others, but really building new IP in new arenas. We know Nintendo's first-party stuff hasn't been the strongest lately, but hey, wait, Sony still has a gaming division, doesn't
Wait,
it?
Sony makes video games?
So yeah, I can kind of see that. I don't think I've ever bought a copy of Forza at full price. In fact, I'm pretty sure I haven't. I didn't buy Fable. I mean, I think it has to hit what half a million, something like that, units before it goes on the greatest hits line. And when it hits greatest hits, it's at a dramatically that 500,000 number is probably wrong, but it's at a dramatic discount. So he is obviously counting that in there as far as units sold. So I mean, Halo of course is sold like gangbusters. Halo always sells huge, and Kinect stuff is sold like hotcakes.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the same principle basically as why the Wii stuff started out selling gangbusters.
Yeah. I think having a Kinect and having a Wii, I think the Kinect probably has more staying power as far as technology is concerned, but I don't think there's any super compelling piece of software for it yet to really hit
Also
critical
just
mass.
like the Wii.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing as before. You can make innovations in interaction, but without the software to back up your innovation, it's not really going to proceed into the future very far.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Wii U is not building around the same motion controls the Wii had.
No, it's going to have it.
Right, but that's not going to be its driving force
It's
anymore.
that stupid second screen.
Right. Yeah, I mean, they've come up with their new innovation they want to use, which is basically make the console version of a DS, and that's what they're pushing with for their next version. You know, they did not get the mileage they wanted to out of the standard Wii controls, from my perspective.
I agree.
As far as these first-party games, I have not bought any of these games listed in this article.
I haven't bought or played Fable 1 or 2. I have Forza 1 and 2. I don't have Forza 3. And I have all the Halo games, except for not the one immediately after Halo 3, but before Halo Reach.
There are copies of Fable in the house, but I have not actually played it yet, so...
Actually, I take that back. I may have bought a copy of Fable off of one of my friends when I bought a couple friends' collections out when they decided to move, and I may have it in there somewhere, but I definitely haven't played it either. Okay. Anything else, guys? I think that'll do it. If nothing else. Nothing else?
I think we've covered
Hey,
it.
we made it through an episode of New Soundwave without John, so...
And I think we did okay.
Yeah, we did okay.
Yeah.
Awesome, so...
It would have been great to have Triplet on, but we're capable.
We're capable without Triplet.
Yeah.
So fantastic. You can follow us on Twitter at TF Radio, where you can learn about all of our shows, Radio Free Cybertron, Superhero Time, Outside the Cage, all of those shows, Fanboy Versus, good stuff. Find us at tfradio.net. You can find those shows as well. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. The button is up there somewhere. I'm pointing. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, because we want that. I mean, need that. I mean, we're asking you to do that as a
Numbers
favor
are
to
good.
us. Yes. Okay, so we will be back next week with 100% more John DeLuna this time.
Probably.
And 100% less Brian Kilby. So, yes.
And probably some Peter Van.
And Peter Van. Peter,
A.K.A. Weevil.
Yes, so... So, thank you guys for watching, and thank you guys for being here. We will talk to you later.
2, 1, 0. Game over.
Mother. You're alive. Too bad you will die.
This has been New Soundwave. Visit us at tfradio.net for show notes and to subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on Twitter at tfradio for news and updates. Check out all our videos at tfvideo.net. New Soundwave is a Radio Free Cybertron production.